Hello, my name is Rafael, and today I'm going to be explaining about animal testing and the concerns that people have, the ethical concerns that people have on animal testing. So, before we get into the ethical concerns that surround animal testing or animal trials, we need to understand what ethics is or what the definition of ethics is. So, by definition, ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. So basically, it's our moral principles, it's our moral code, sort of our rule that govern or sort of guide us as a person. It guides our behavior. It's, yeah, it's basically sort of our rule, our guidance that we have as a person to guide our behavior and our activities and stuff. And so, knowing that there are six ethical controversies or six ethical concerns that has been provoked by biotechnology. Those six are safety, liberty, justice, environmental nature, human nature, and religious beliefs. So, when it comes to animal testing, I think safety is the moral concern that fits it the most. So the ethical issue of safety is basically more towards the worries and concerns that people have over the safety of biotechnology on people and even the environment. People worry that biotechnology might disrupt the complex balance of nature in ways that are harmful. GMO crops, for example, have been a topic of concern as a lot of people are worried that it might endanger our health and the health of the environment. Critics of medical biotechnology fear that biotechnology medicine could alter our mind and body in extreme ways that could result in harmful consequences. So, knowing about the concerns in biotechnology, now we're going to move on to animal testing or what animal testing is. So, the term animal testing refers to the procedures performed on living animals for purposes of research into basic biology, diseases, and assessing the effectiveness of new medical products and cosmetic products. All procedures of animal testing, even those considered as mild or not severe, have the potential to harm animals physically and psychologically. It can cause physical and psychological distress. And so, yeah, so basically, it's procedures that are performed on animals uh, for research, mainly for researching diseases and human biology. But apart from that, there's also the purpose of researching on cosmetic products, on whether or not they would work on people and the side effects of those cosmetic products. And yeah, of course, the main concern surrounding animal testing is that it's inhumane, as uh, I've explained earlier. Uh, Even procedures that are considered mild or not severe have the potential to cause the animal physical or psychological distress. So, these are the animals, some of the more common animals that are used in animal testing. Mice, fish, rabbits, birds, cats, dogs, primates, and guinea pigs are among some of the most common species used in animal tests. So this is a list of the common procedures these animals face during animal testing. First, chemical exposure and toxicity testing, which can include oral force feeding, injection into the abdomen, or forced inhalation. Exposure to drugs, chemicals, and various infectious disease, genetic manipulation, ear notching and tail clipping for identification, short periods of physical restraint for observation, prolonged periods of physical restraint, food and water deprivation, surgical procedures followed by recovery, infliction of wounds, burns, and other injuries to study healing, infliction of pain to study its physiology and treatment, behavioral experiments designed to cause distress, which usually use electric shock or force swimming, and other manipulation to create animal models of human diseases, which can range from giving these animals stroke to cancer and even depression, and killing by carbon dioxide, asphyxiation, neck breaking, decapitation, or other means. So now that we've known sort of what these animals, sort of the procedures that these animals go through in animal testing, I want to sort of go through the pros and cons, or the benefits of animal testing, and also the negatives of animal testing. So here's a list of 6 pros and cons of animal testing, and so some of the pros include the fact that animal testing contributes to life-saving cures and treatments, as of course one of the main motivation of animal testing is to research diseases and find cures to them. And some animals are biologically similar to human beings, which make them great test subjects. Chimpanzees, for example, share 99% of their DNA with us humans, and genetically, mice are 98% similar to humans, and of course, all mammals are descended from common ancestors, and we all have the same set of organs. And the last pro is that the use of animals will prevent risking a human life, because of course using animals as test subjects would prevent any human from having to expose themselves to dangerous disease or chemicals. Now we're going to move on to the cons of animal testing. The first one is animal testing is generally considered inhumane, as of course putting living creatures in a lot of physical and psychological pain is cruel. And contrary to the second pro, most animals are actually very different to human in terms of anatomy, metabolism, and cells. The third and last con is that drugs that pass animal tests aren't necessarily safe. For example, animal tests on the arthritis drug Vioxx showed that it was effective in protecting the hearts of the mice, yet it went on to cause more than 27,000 strokes and sudden cardiac deaths. The drug was, of course, later removed from the market. So, of course, knowing the pros and cons now, what is the alternative to animal testing? We can't really, of course, get rid of it, because without it, we can't. Without test subjects, we won't be able to study and research diseases thoroughly and find a cure for them. We can try testing on humans, which have been done before and are being done today, as of course vaccines such as many COVID vaccines undergo human trials before they go into production. But of course, as mentioned before, when it comes to diseases, and not a lot of people are willing to risk their life by exposing themselves to deadly chemicals. And so, what other options do we have? Well, based on my research, we have 3 main options for an alternative to animal testing. These 3 are cell cultures, human tissues, and computer models. So, cell cultures uses human cells as a test subject. Almost every type of human and animal cell can be grown in a laboratory, and human cells have even been used to create innovative devices called organs on chips. And instead of animals, these devices can be used to study diseases. Devices that accurately mimic the lung, kidney, heart, and gut have already been produced, and the goal is to sort of create an entire human on a chip, which will be a great alternative to animals. And so human tissues. Human tissues uses, human tissues to study human biology and diseases. Human tissues can be donated from surgery or be used after a person has died. And postmortem brain tissue has even provided important leads in understanding brain regeneration and the effects of multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease. And so finally we have the computer model, which uses a computer's ability to replicate aspects of the human body as a method of research and an alternative to animal testing. Computer models of the heart, lungs, kidneys, skin, and digestive systems have already exist, and so we can sort of take advantage of that to uh, use that as a test subject instead of animals. And so, yeah, using any one of these alternatives would be great because, of course, not only does it not endanger the lives of many animals or living creatures for that matter, but it's also still beneficial and could reach the same goal that animal testing has, which is to research diseases. And so, these are the sources that I've used. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah.